Jin-Ho Park sat at his desk, staring at complex blueprints spread across his computer screens. The aerospace engineer had moved to this remote cabin 3 years ago, seeking quiet after leaving his high-pressure job at the space agency. Tonight, like most nights, he worked on his personal designs for more efficient spacecraft engines. A brilliant flash of light outside his window interrupted his concentration. Jin-Ho jumped from his chair, knocking over his coffee mug. The light streaked across the night sky, followed by a thunderous crash that shook the cabin's walls. Whatever had fallen landed in the woods behind his property. Meteor, Jin-Ho muttered, grabbing his jacket and flashlight. His scientific curiosity overwhelmed any sense of caution as he hurried outside into the cold night air. Following the path of broken tree branches, Jin-Ho trekked deeper into the forest. The smell of burned wood and something unfamiliar, something metallic and sweet, filled the air. After 15 minutes of walking, he stopped at the edge of a small clearing created by the impact. There, nestled in disturbed earth, sat what could only be described as a spacecraft. Its sleek silver hull glowed faintly blue despite obvious damage to one side. The vessel was small, perhaps the size of a delivery van, with no visible markings Jin-Ho recognized. "Impossible," he whispered, his breath visible in the cool night air. As he approached cautiously, a section of the hull slid open with a soft hiss. Jin-Ho froze, flashlight beam fixed on the opening. Two figures emerged, moving with graceful caution. They were clearly female and appeared almost human, except for their silvery blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. Both had long hair that looked like liquid silver and large almond-shaped eyes that glowed violet. Most striking of all, they were identical twins. The pair spoke to each other in musical tones Jin-Ho couldn't understand. One noticed him standing there and nudged her sister. Both turned to face him, bowing slightly. "Greetings, Earth resident," one said in surprisingly clear but accented English. "We apologize for the intrusion on your territory." Jin-Ho could only stare, his scientific mind racing to process what stood before him. You speak English. We have universal translators," the second twin explained, touching a small device at her throat. "We learned your dominant languages during our approach to your planet." "Who are you?" Jin-Ho finally managed to ask. The twins exchanged glances before the first one spoke again. "I am Princess Era of the Royal House of Luminaris. This is my sister, Princess Eon. We come from the planet Altiris, in what you would call the Cygnus constellation." Jin-Ho blinked rapidly. "Princesses? From another planet?" "Yes," Eon replied with a nod. "We have fled our home to escape an arranged marriage to Emperor Dorn of the Phyraxian Empire. It would have sealed an alliance that would destroy our people's freedom." Jin-Ho noticed both wore elaborate clothing that indeed seemed fitting for royalty, flowing garments with intricate patterns that shifted colors as they moved. "Our ship sustained damage evading pursuit," Era explained, gesturing to the spacecraft. "The self-repair systems are functioning, but it will take approximately 14 of your Earth days to complete. We need somewhere to hide," Yun added urgently. "The Phyraxian have extensive tracking technology. If they find us, they will not hesitate to destroy anyone who has helped us." Jin-Ho ran a hand through his hair, trying to process everything. "And you crashed specifically near my cabin because—" "Your isolation," Era said. "We scanned for solitary dwellings away from population centers to minimize contact. Also, your personal communication signals suggested scientific knowledge that might help us understand Earth customs." They were monitoring my internet usage, Jin-Ho thought with a mixture of alarm and fascination. Yun stepped forward with a look of determination. "We propose an arrangement. We need shelter until our ship repairs. In exchange, we will serve as your household assistants, what you call maids, to earn our keep." "Maids," Jin-Ho repeated, bewildered. "You're alien princesses, and you want to be my maids." "It's the perfect disguise," Era explained excitedly. No one would look for royalty in such positions. We studied Earth's media during our approach and observed this arrangement in many of your entertainment programs. Jin-Ho almost laughed at their misunderstanding of Earth television, but the gravity of the situation stopped him. These were aliens, actual extraterrestrial beings, asking for his help. "What happens if I say no?" he asked cautiously. The twins' expressions fell. "We would need to find another location," Yun said. "But movement increases our risk of detection, and our ship cannot fly until repairs are complete." Jin-Ho looked back toward his cabin, then at the damaged spacecraft, then at the two alien princesses watching him hopefully. His life had been quiet, predictable, and lonely since moving here. Now, the universe had literally crashed into his backyard. 14 days, you said?" he finally asked. The twins nodded in unison. "I have a spare bedroom with 2 beds," Jin-Ho sighed. "But we'll need to establish some ground rules, and I'm not sure what I'll do with maids. I've been taking care of myself for years." Relief washed over the twins' faces. Era stepped forward and took Jin-Ho's hand between hers. Her touch was warm despite her cool-colored skin. "Thank you, Earth resident. We will not forget your kindness." "Jin-Ho," he corrected. "My name is Jin-Ho Park." "Jin-Ho," Eun repeated with a small smile. "We are in your debt." As they walked back to his cabin through the dark forest, Jin-Ho tried to process how his quiet life had changed in less than an hour. 2 alien princesses as maids, a damaged spacecraft hidden in his woods, and somewhere out there, he assumed, angry pursuers who might come looking for them. "Just 14 days, he mumbled to himself. What could possibly go wrong? Behind him, the twin princesses exchanged knowing glances, both aware they hadn't mentioned everything about their situation, or the danger Jin-Ho now faced by helping them. Jin-Ho woke to strange sounds coming from his kitchen. For a moment, he forgot about his unusual house guests until a loud crash followed by musical alien words reminded him. He jumped out of bed and hurried downstairs. The kitchen was a disaster zone. Era stood near the stove where something was burning in his best pan. Yun was on the floor surrounded by broken dishes, looking distressed. "What's happening here?" Jin-Ho asked, trying to keep his voice calm. "Good morning, Jin-Ho," Era said cheerfully. "We are preparing the traditional Earth morning meal as proper maids should." Jin-Ho rushed to turn off the stove. The blackened mass in the pan might have once been eggs. "Did you put the entire carton in there, shell and all?" "The protective coverings are not consumed," Yun asked, looking genuinely confused. Jin-Ho sighed. "No, we crack them open and just cook what's inside. Earth food preparation is more complex than our studies indicated," Era admitted, looking disappointed. Jin-Ho grabbed a towel and began cleaning up. "It's okay. Maybe we should start with something simpler." After a basic breakfast of cereal, which fascinated the twins with its crunchy then soft transformation, Jin-Ho tried to explain what being a maid actually meant on Earth. "So maids clean living spaces and prepare food," Yum clarified, taking notes on a small device that projected holographic symbols. "They do not advise on interplanetary politics or perform royal ceremonies." "Generally not," Jin-Ho confirmed with a smile. "And they wear specific uniforms?" Era asked. Before Jin-Ho could answer, both twins touched devices on their wrists. Their royal garments shimmered and transformed into stereotypical French maid outfits, complete with frilly headpieces. "Wait, no," Jin-Ho exclaimed, feeling his face grow hot. "That's not. Those are from costume parties and old movies. Real maids just wear normal clothes." The twins looked disappointed as they changed back into simpler attire. "Earth media is not reliable for cultural research," Eun noted seriously. That afternoon, Jin-Ho tried to teach them basic cleaning tasks. This led to another surprise when he handed Era a feather duster. "This primitive tool is inefficient," she declared. From her pocket, she produced a small silver ball that floated into the air and emitted a soft purple light. Dust particles around the room began lifting away from surfaces, swirling toward the device. "Stop!" Jin-Ho shouted, jumping to grab the floating orb. No alien technology where anyone might see it. Too late, the ball had already pulled dust from throughout the house, creating a small tornado of particles in his living room before depositing them neatly in the trash can. "But it is 300% more efficient," Era protested. "And dangerous if anyone saw it," Jin-Ho explained patiently. "Remember, you're supposed to be hiding." The twins nodded solemnly, though Jin-Ho noticed they exchanged glances that suggested they found Earth methods amusingly primitive. Later that evening, Jin-Ho was working in his home office when he heard a strange humming noise. He found Yun in the bathroom, staring at his washing machine. "This cleaning device is using water as a solvent," she observed with fascination. "So wasteful yet charming." "What would you use?" Jin-Ho asked, genuinely curious. "Sound waves," Yun replied simply. To demonstrate, she hummed a complex series of notes at his dirty coffee mug. The stains vibrated and lifted away, leaving the ceramic perfectly clean. Jin-Ho stared in amazement. "That's incredible." Yun smiled shyly. "A simple trick all Altarian children learn." As days passed, Jin-Ho discovered more about the twins' abilities. They were telepathic with each other, but not with humans. They could lift objects 3 times their body weight with ease, and most surprisingly, they never seemed to sleep, instead entering a meditative state for just 2 hours each night. One morning, Jin-Ho entered his kitchen to find everything reorganized. "We have optimized your food preparation area," Era announced proudly. "The new arrangement follows galactic standard efficiency patterns." Jin-Ho looked around in bewilderment. His refrigerator now stood in the center of the room. Cabinets had been rearranged by color rather than function, and his microwave was upside down. "The heat distribution is 17% more effective in this position," Yun explained when she saw him staring at it. "Please don't reorganize things without asking," Jin-Ho said, trying not to show his frustration. "Earth homes follow certain patterns that make sense to us." The twins looked crestfallen. "We thought we were being helpful," Era said quietly. Jin-Ho felt a pang of guilt seeing their disappointed expressions. "Look, why don't we compromise? You can show me your advanced techniques, but let's keep the house looking normal in case anyone visits." Their faces brightened immediately. That night, Jin-Ho sat with the twins watching stars from his porch. They pointed out their home system, a faint star in Cygnus that looked unremarkable to human eyes. "Do you miss home?" Jin-Ho asked. "Yes," Yun admitted, "but our duty to protect our people comes first." The marriage alliance would have given the Voraxian Empire access to our planet's defense systems, Era explained. "Millions would suffer." Jin-Ho felt a new respect for the twins. Despite their occasional clumsiness with Earth customs, they had sacrificed everything for their people. A sudden bright light flashed across the night sky, too fast for a plane, too steady for a meteor. The twins tensed beside him. "What was that?" Jin-Ho asked, feeling the chill despite the warm night. "Scout ship," Yun whispered. "Voraxian design." "They're looking for us," Era added, her voice tight with fear. "And they're getting closer." Jin-Ho stared up at the now empty sky, the peaceful evening shattered by the realization that danger was approaching his quiet home, and it came from the stars. Jin-Ho paced anxiously in the basement where Era and Yun were using strange devices to monitor the surrounding area. A week had passed since they spotted the scout ship, and the tension in the cabin had grown with each day. "Anything new?" he asked, peering at the holographic display hovering above a small silver disk on the floor. "The Voraxian ship has made 3 orbital passes," Era said, her fingers dancing through the projected light. "They're using standard search patterns, but they haven't pinpointed our location yet. Our ship's cloaking system is still functioning," Yun added, "but the repair progress has slowed to avoid detection. Energy signatures could give us away." Jin-Ho ran his hand through his hair. How much longer until it's fixed? The twins exchanged glances. 10 more days, Era finally admitted. Possibly longer. 10 days. Jinho hadn't planned for such an extended stay. You said 14 days total when you arrived. We've simplified the estimate, Yun confessed. The damage was worse than we initially thought. Before Jinho could respond, a soft alarm chimed from their monitoring device. The holographic display shifted to show a map of the nearby town. What's that? Jinho asked, leaning closer. A Voraxian energy signature, Era said, her voice tense. Someone has landed and is moving through your settlement. They're in town, looking for you. Jinho felt his heart race. But how would they know to search here specifically? They don't, Ian explained. Yet, they're likely checking all isolated human dwellings within the search grid. Jinho thought quickly. I need to go into town for supplies anyway. If I see anything suspicious, I'll know what we're dealing with. The twins protested, but Jinho insisted. We need to know what they look like, how they're searching. I'll be careful. 2 hours later, Jinho pushed a shopping cart through the small local grocery store, trying to appear casual while scanning for anything unusual. He was about to give up when he noticed a tall, thin man in a perfectly pressed suit examining a store employee with uncomfortable intensity. The man's movements were too precise, almost mechanical. Jinho pretended to study a shelf of canned goods while watching from the corner of his eye. The stranger held up what looked like a business card, asking questions. The store employee shrugged and pointed toward the exit. Jinho quickly finished shopping and hurried to his truck. As he loaded groceries, he noticed the strange man walking toward him across the parking lot. "Excuse me," the man called. His voice was oddly flat. "I am conducting a survey of local residents." Jinho forced a smile. "Sorry, I'm in a hurry." The man stepped closer. "It will only require moments of your time. I am particularly interested in residents of outlying areas." Jinho noticed the man's eyes. They didn't blink enough. And something about his skin looked too smooth, almost like it wasn't real. "Like I said, I'm in a rush." Jinho climbed into his truck and started the engine. The man placed a hand on the window. "Have you observed any unusual aerial phenomena recently? Perhaps visitors to your area?" Jinho's mouth went dry. "No, nothing interesting happens around here. That's why I live out there." The man stared for a moment longer, then stepped back with a stiff nod. "Very well. If you do observe anything unusual, please contact this number." He slipped a black card through the window crack. Jinho waited until the strange man walked away before speeding out of the parking lot. He checked his rearview mirror repeatedly on the drive home, convinced he was being followed. When he burst through his front door, the twins were waiting anxiously. "He's here," Jinho gasped. "The Voraxian agent. He was asking about unusual visitors and aerial phenomena." Era took the black card Jinho had received. Her face paled. "This contains a tracking nanomaterial. We must destroy it immediately." Eun took the card and hurried to the kitchen, where she dropped it into a glass of water. The card dissolved with a hiss, the water briefly glowing red before turning clear again. "We should check your vehicle as well," Era said. "They often place trackers on transportation devices." In the garage, the twins used a handheld scanner that emitted soft blue light. It beeped when passed over Jinho's rear bumper. "There," Yun pointed to a small black disc no larger than a coin, hidden under the truck. "He must have placed it while I was loading groceries," Jinho realized. Era carefully removed the device. "We can't destroy this one. They would know immediately. We need to move it somewhere else." "The forest animal," Yun suggested. "The one that visits the yard each night." Jinho understood. "The deer. You want to put it on a deer." That evening, they waited until the familiar doe appeared at the edge of the forest. Using their telekinetic abilities, the twins transferred the tracker to the animal's coat without approaching it. The deer, sensing something amiss, bounded away into the trees. "That buys us time," Era said. "But not much. We need to see your ship." Jinho was surprised by the request. "Why?" "There's something we need to show you," Ian explained. They led him through the dark forest to where the alien craft lay hidden under a canopy of special material that made it blend into the surroundings. Inside, Jinho marveled at the advanced technology surrounding him. "This is our royal escape vessel," Era explained, "but it contains something more important than us." One pressed her palm against a panel, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside was a pulsing crystal the size of a basketball, glowing with swirling blue and green energy. "The heart of Alteris," Ian said reverently, "our planet's most ancient artifact. It contains the complete scientific knowledge of our civilization, including faster-than-light travel principles your species has yet to discover." Jinho stared in awe. "This is what they're really after, isn't it? Not just you." Era nodded solemnly. "If the Varaxian Empire obtains this, they could dominate the galaxy. We took it to prevent that, knowing they would believe it was still in the royal vault." "But why show me?" Jinho asked. "Because the Varaxian will come here soon," Ian said grimly. "And when they do, you need to understand what's truly at stake." As if summoned by her words, a distant explosion shook the ground. They rushed outside to see flames rising from the direction of Jinho's cabin. "They found us," Era whispered. The hunt had truly begun. Jinho stared at his burning cabin from the safety of the forest's edge. The twins stood beside him, their faces illuminated by the orange glow of flames. The Varaxian agent had found them, or at least had found where they had been hiding. "We need to move," Era whispered. "They will search the surrounding area next." "I know someone who might help us," Jinho said after a moment of thought. "An old friend from my military days. He works for a government research division now." "Can he be trusted?" Ian asked, her violet eyes reflecting the distant fire. "Min was always loyal," Jinho replied. "And he owes me a favor. His facility is about 3 hours from here." They gathered what little they could salvage from the ship, including the precious heart of Alteris, now secured in a small containment unit that Ian carried in a backpack. Using back roads and avoiding main highways, Jinho drove through the night, constantly checking for pursuit. Min's research facility sat isolated in a valley, surrounded by chain-link fence, topped with barbed wire. When they arrived at the gate, Jinho used the emergency contact number he'd memorized years ago. "This is a restricted area," a stern voice answered. "Tell Dr. Min that Jinho Park is here," Jinho replied. "Tell him it's about Project Starfall." There was a long pause before the gate slowly opened. Min met them at an underground entrance, a stocky man with sharp eyes and a perpetual frown. He stared at the alien twins with surprisingly little shock. "You always had a talent for finding trouble, Jinho," Min said, leading them through sterile white corridors. "But this exceeds even my expectations." In a secure conference room, Jinho explained everything while Min listened silently. When Jinho finished, Min simply nodded. "We've been tracking unusual orbital activities for the past week," Min admitted. "Something large entered Earth's atmosphere last night. Military satellites caught it, but it disappeared from radar almost immediately." "The Varaxian mothership," Era confirmed. "It can cloak itself from your detection systems." Min turned to the twins. "You said humans have potential that scares other species. What did you mean by that?" Gun stepped forward. "Most advanced civilizations evolved along predictable paths. They developed technology in specific sequences over thousands of years. This created similar thought patterns across species. Humans are different," Era continued. "You make unexpected leaps in thinking. You find solutions that shouldn't work but somehow do. This unpredictability makes you dangerous, but also valuable." "Is that why your people kept us isolated?" Jinho asked. The twins exchanged uncomfortable glances. "Yes," Yun finally admitted. The Galactic Council voted to quarantine Earth until humans reached a certain development stage. Your nuclear weapons concerned them, but your creativity frightened them more. Min laughed bitterly. So we're the galaxy's unruly children, kept in a playpen. It was wrong, Era said firmly. That's partly why we came here. The Varaxian would enslave humanity if they could. We hoped to form an alliance instead. A young researcher burst into the room. Dr. Min, we have a situation. Multiple unidentified flying objects are approaching from the north. Min's face hardened. How long? 20 minutes, maybe less. Jin-Ho looked at the twins. Can your ship reach us here? Era shook her head. The repairs aren't complete. It can't fly yet. Then we fight with what we have, Min decided. He led them to a laboratory filled with experimental technology. This facility was created to reverse engineer unexplained artifacts. We've developed a few surprises of our own. He handed Jin-Ho what looked like a modified rifle. Electromagnetic pulse weapon. Still experimental. Jin-Ho examined it. This might disrupt their systems, but they'll have shielding. What about this? Yun pointed to a large device in the corner. Sound cannon, Min explained. Designed for riot control. Creates focused sonic waves. Yun's eyes lit up. Varaxian have extremely sensitive hearing organs. This could incapacitate them. Jin-Ho remembered how Yun had cleaned his coffee mug with sound waves. Can we modify it to match their vulnerability? For the next 15 minutes, Jin-Ho and the twins worked frantically to adjust the sound cannon while Min organized the facility's security team. Yun used her knowledge of Varaxian physiology, while Jin-Ho applied his engineering skills to retune the device. Their ships will have protection against energy weapons, Era explained as they worked. They expect advanced technology to be used against them. But not this, Jin-Ho said, connecting the modified sound cannon to a simple car battery. Sometimes older technology works better precisely because it's unexpected. Alarms blared throughout the facility. On security monitors, they watched 3 sleek silver ships land in the parking lot. Humanoid figures in metallic suits emerged, led by the same agent Jin-Ho had met in town. They're inside the main entrance, a security officer reported over the radio. Min looked at Jin-Ho. Your device ready? Jin-Ho nodded. Let's hope this works. They positioned themselves in the main hallway, with security personnel hidden in side rooms. The twins stood beside Jin-Ho, who held the modified sound cannon ready. The doors at the end of the hallway slid open. 5 Varaxian soldiers entered, followed by their commander, the agent from town, now wearing his true form. He was tall and thin with grayish skin and large black eyes. Return the princesses and the heart of Alteris, the commander demanded. Your primitive weapons cannot harm us. Jin-Ho stepped forward. We have something you haven't seen before. The commander laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Humans always believe they are special. This is why you were quarantined. Your arrogance exceeds your development. Maybe, Jin-Ho replied. But we're quick learners. He activated the sound cannon. Nothing visible happened, but the effect on the Varaxians was immediate. They clutched their heads and fell to their knees, writhing in pain. The commander struggled to remain standing, reaching for a weapon at his belt. Now, Jin-Ho shouted. Min's security team emerged, firing EMP weapons. The Varaxian soldiers' suits sparked and malfunctioned. Within minutes, all 6 aliens were incapacitated. The commander glared at Jin-Ho as he was restrained. This changes nothing. Our mothership carries hundreds of soldiers. Jin-Ho smiled. But they'll need to adapt to human thinking first. Era placed her hand on Jin-Ho's shoulder. You just demonstrated why humans frighten the galaxy. You combined primitive technology with advanced knowledge in a way no other species would consider. The human advantage, Yun agreed. Unpredictability. Min approached with a satisfied expression. I've contacted my superiors. The government is very interested in meeting our visitors, both friendly and hostile. Jin-Ho looked at the twins. "I think it's time humanity joined the galactic community, don't you?" 3 months had passed since the confrontation at Min's research facility. Jin-Ho stood before a tall mirror, adjusting the formal suit he'd been given for today's ceremony. The diplomatic quarters of the newly established Interstellar Relations Center hummed with activity as representatives from 12 Earth nations prepared to meet with the Altarian delegation. "You look uncomfortable," Era said, entering the room in royal Altarian attire. Gone were the simple clothes she had worn as a maid. Now she wore flowing silver robes with intricate blue patterns that shifted like water. "I'm an engineer, not a diplomat," Jin-Ho replied, fumbling with his tie. Un appeared beside her sister, similarly dressed in royal finery. "Yet you negotiated the most important treaty in Earth's history." Jin-Ho smiled at the memory. After capturing the Voraxian commander, Earth's governments had initially wanted to respond with military force against the alien mothership. It was Jin-Ho who suggested a different approach. Using the captured commander's communication device, they had contacted the Altarian government directly. The twins' parents, the king and queen of Altaris, had been searching for their daughters since their disappearance. When they learned their children were safe on Earth, and that humans had helped protect both the princesses and the heart of Altaris, they immediately sent diplomatic vessels. The arrival of the Altarian royal fleet had forced the Voraxian mothership to retreat. What followed was an intense period of negotiation, as Earth was suddenly thrust into galactic politics. "The treaty signing begins in 30 minutes. Yun reminded him, stepping forward to fix his tie with practiced ease. "Thank you," Jin-Ho said. "I still can't believe your parents appointed me as Earth's ambassador to Altaris." "Who better?" Era asked. "You understand both worlds now." A knock at the door interrupted them. Min entered, also dressed formally, but looking more natural in his diplomatic role. "The security teams are ready," Min reported, "and the heart of Altaris has been placed in the ceremonial chamber." The heart had become the center of the new alliance. In exchange for its protection on Earth, neutral ground in galactic terms, the Altarians would share limited technological knowledge with humanity. This arrangement gave Earth instant standing in the Galactic Council, while protecting the powerful artifact from Voraxian control. "The Council representatives just arrived," Min continued. 7 species in total. Most of them still seem uncomfortable with humans joining galactic society so suddenly. "They'll adapt," Yun said confidently, "as we did to Earth." Jin-Ho laughed. "You mean as you learn not to reorganize my kitchen, or use sound waves to clean my dishes?" The twins smiled at the memory of their time pretending to be maids. Those simple days seemed distant now. As they walked together toward the ceremonial hall, Jin-Ho reflected on how dramatically life had changed. His burned cabin had been replaced by this modern facility built specifically for interstellar diplomacy. His lonely existence had transformed into a position at the center of humanity's first steps into a larger universe. The ceremonial hall was impressive, a circular chamber with a glass dome showing the sky above. In the center stood a pedestal where the heart of Altaris floated in a protective field, its swirling blue-green energy casting patterns across the walls. Around it, representatives from Earth nations and alien delegations gathered in concentric circles. Jin-Ho recognized the various alien species from his briefings. The tall, willowy meridians with their 4 arms, the squat, reptilian Drex, the cloud-like Vashan who floated rather than walked. All had been skeptical of human readiness for galactic citizenship. Most still were. The Altarian king and queen stood beside the heart, their resemblance to their daughters unmistakable. When they spotted Jin-Ho entering with the twins, they smiled warmly. "Ambassador Park," the queen greeted him. "Today marks a historic moment for both our worlds, and hopefully the beginning of a lasting friendship." Jin-Ho replied with a formal bow he had practiced for days. The Earth Secretary General approached next. "The United Nations Security Council has unanimously approved the treaty text. We are ready to proceed." As the formal ceremony began, Jin Ho found himself standing between worlds, the Earth officials on one side, the galactic representatives on the other, with the twins beside him. The king of Alteris addressed the gathering. For too long, Earth has been kept isolated from the galactic community. This was done from fear. Fear of human unpredictability, fear of human innovation. That fear led some species to suggest humanity should be permanently quarantined. Murmurs rippled through the alien delegations. But my daughters discovered what many of us had forgotten, the king continued. Different does not mean dangerous. Unpredictable does not mean unworthy. When faced with a threat beyond their understanding, these humans displayed courage, resourcefulness, and compassion. Jin Ho felt Era's hand slip into his. He glanced at her in surprise, but she kept her eyes forward, a slight smile on her lips. The treaty we signed today does more than protect the heart of Alteris, the queen added. It recognizes humanity's rightful place among the stars, not as children to be monitored, but as equal partners with unique perspectives to offer. One by one, representatives approached the central pedestal to place their hands on scanner plates, formally recording their agreement. When Jin Ho's turn came, he stepped forward with a sense of profound responsibility. As Earth's first ambassador to Alteris, he said clearly, I pledge our commitment to peaceful cooperation and mutual respect. As his hand touched the scanner, the heart of Alteris pulsed brightly, its energy patterns shifting to include a new color, a warm golden hue that spread through the blue-green swirls. The Altarian king looked surprised. The heart responds to your presence, Ambassador Park. This is unexpected and auspicious. After the ceremony concluded and the formal reception began, Jin Ho found a quiet moment with the twins on a balcony overlooking the facility grounds. What happens now? He asked. Will you return to Alteris? Eventually, Yun said. But we've been appointed as cultural attaches to Earth. Our experience makes us ideal for the position. Besides, Era added with a mischievous smile, someone needs to make sure Earth's first ambassador doesn't embarrass himself in royal court. Jin Ho laughed. I suppose I still have a lot to learn about being a diplomat. And we have much to learn about humanity, Yun said. This is just the beginning. Looking up at the night sky, Jin Ho could now identify the star that was the twins' home sun. Soon, he would visit their world, just as they had visited his. But unlike their arrival as fugitives, he would go as an ambassador of a newly recognized galactic power. From maids to diplomats, Jin Ho mused. Quite a journey. From isolated engineer to ambassador, Era countered. Your journey is equally remarkable. As shooting stars streaked across the sky, actually Altarian ships in formation to honor the treaty, Jin Ho realized that humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. And somehow, against all odds, he found himself at its center, with two former alien maids as his closest allies and friends. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor after all.